Hi guys, welcome to a video, and in this video I just wanted to go through my lesbian book collection with you. I actually find myself with a fairly growing collection, and for some reason it's not always easy to find lesbian literature, so I thought this video might help people who are stuck with finding recommendations, or they want something to read but they're not really sure where to look or what is on offer out there. Reading and lesbians is like my two favourite things to do, so when you can when you combine these things, it's heaven on earth, and there are some really great books out there. So I just thought I'd talk about my collection, what I think of the books that I own, and that's it. There's my lap is heavy. The first book I want to talk about is The Priory of the Orange Tree. As you can see, the cover is absolutely stunning. In a nutshell, it is a fantasy novel about lesbians and dragons, so immediately I was sold. Majority of the protagonists are female, that's another huge plus, and if you enjoyed Game of Thrones, you will definitely enjoy this. It's in the same category as Game of Thrones, but it very much stands up on its own, and the minute I started reading it, I was hooked. It's incredibly well written. If you're looking for a fantasy to sink your teeth into, it's definitely worth the hype. It's so big. I haven't finished it yet, but when I do, I will definitely be reviewing it. The next book I wanted to talk about is Wages of Sin by Katie Welch. I found this in a lesbian fiction section in a bookstore. It's about a woman in the late 19th century who's training to become a doctor, which is obviously relatively new for women, and one of her female patients turns up murdered, and she sets about trying to find out what happened to this particular patient. I do like a murder mystery. Again, it's very female centric. It's interesting because it explores a prominent part of female history, how women were treated in the medical field, how women were treated in the late 19th century. I also like the front cover. So the next book is Tell It to the Bees by Fiona Shaw. I watched the movie at BFI Flair and was so curious to read the book that I purchased the book. It's about a young boy who lives in a small town. He makes friends with a doctor there called Jean Markham, and Charlie's mum Lydia and Jean strike up this relationship, but the town they live in is very small, it's a bit backwards, and they don't take too kindly to them kind of relationships. So it's a secret love kind of thing. The next book is The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily Danforth. You may have seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, the story is about a young girl who is exploring her sexuality. She gets found out, so she gets sent off to this Christian conversion therapy camp, and the book talks about her life before the camp and during the camp. I really liked the book. I have done a full review on it, so you can go and watch that if you're interested. It's an incredibly relevant novel to younger people who are kind of living in that society and finding themselves attracted to the same sex. It's a good book, it's a good read, it was incredibly interesting. This book is called Pages for Her. My friend gave me this book as a late birthday present, and I haven't started reading it yet. It's by Sylvia Brownrigg, and on the back it says, it's basically about a woman who's married to a man and finds herself defined by her identity as a wife and a mother, and then one day she returns to a writers' conference and she sees a chance to return to her old world when she recognises the name of the woman chairing the event, called Anne Arden. It says Flannery is thrown back 20 years to the most intense love affair of her life. But I couldn't tell you if it's any good or not because I haven't started reading it, but I love lesbians reuniting, you know. The next book is Buffering by Hannah Hart. It is a book of sort of memoirs. Hannah Hart is a YouTuber. I was very interested to read this because I was a big Hart big shipper, and I wanted to read the chapter she wrote about Grace, and she insists her and Grace are just friends in this, which, you know, I have to accept it. She just talks about family, friends, mental health, romance, her life before YouTube, her life during YouTube. It has a lot of trigger warnings at the beginning of the book. It's okay. If you really love her as a person, I would definitely recommend reading it because it's interesting. I also love the Holy Trinity. They're my favourite thing to watch on YouTube, so it's always interesting to just know more about the people behind the screen. But I wouldn't say it's particularly well written, and I wouldn't bother doing a review of it. I don't mean that harshly, that's just my honest opinion. The next book is Carol. Do I really need to explain what Carol is about at this stage? It's a romance between a younger and an older woman. There's some gloves left on the counter. I've done a review of this book, so if you want more information you can go check out the review video. Other than that, It's one of the most iconic lesbian books out there. If you like older, younger relationships, I'd obviously highly recommend it. I recommend reading it anyway because it's so iconic, and if you like romance, you're gonna like this. The next book is Ammonite by Nicola Griffith. It's a science fiction novel. It's about a planet where the population is all women. A virus has wiped all the men out. Nobody knows why the women survived. A woman goes there to test out a vaccine but ends up wanting to actually research things from an anthropological perspective and ends up getting kind of dragged into one of the colonies, and obviously it's a planet of purely women. There's a lot of lesbianism and it's literally about a lesbian space colony. But yeah, if you like science fiction and anthropology, this is the book for you. The rest of the books I'm not gonna go through individually. It is just my Sarah Waters collection. Again, Sarah Waters is a prolific lesbian novelist and she mainly writes period lesbian fiction. And it varies between Victorian to post-war. She has a lot of novels out. I've done countless videos on Sarah Waters' books and also talking about her collection as a whole. So you've got science fiction, you've got murder mystery, you've got fantasy, you've got romance, you've got memoirs, you've got period pieces, you've got so much variety, and this is probably the tip of the iceberg. In fact, these books I feel are more well known, but I'm sure there's a lot of stuff out there. I just know it's frustrating to find for some reason. So hopefully this video helped. If you want more information and reviews, don't forget to check out my lesbian book playlist because that will give you more in-depth information and opinion from me. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.